Hey, I want to welcome our viewers. Kennesaw Happenings. We're here at Overture, right next to Academy Sports, behind Popeyes and QT. And in the studio is a mom and son, or mother, son. Okay, I think that's what you say. So, what we have, I want Mitchell to introduce himself, who he is, what he does, and who he serves, and then Stefanie will say something after that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mitchell Patton. I'm the owner of Systematic Water Solutions, and we help multifamily property owners nationwide save money by saving water with new low-flow fixtures. So if you're anyone that's in the property management industry, or any property owner operator, we can help serve you in replacing your outdated fixtures with new low-flow fixtures.
So that's awesome. So Stefanie, give us is this your favorite son? No, I'm sorry. Let's go into why are you with him right now? Are you supporting him, helping him, providing a mom's instinct? But introduce yourself to our viewers, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Well, I'm Stefanie Merolla, and Mitchell and I are partners of our business, Systematic Water Solutions. And we're here to educate everybody in reference to how to save water, but not only that, to save some money. So it goes hand in hand, and a lot of people take our water supplies for granted. And there's a lot of connecting states that are in water shortages, and they're over water battles and so forth.
Yep.
And Mitchell and I are able to come in and to educate the multifamily communities, your apartments, go into student housing, into assisted living, some of your commercial buildings like that are levels A and B, and to save water. And then when we're saving water, we're saving money off of our sewage, and then we're also putting money back in our pockets. So we can take and cut a water bill from 50 to 70%. So Mitchell's got the water calculator, and he puts all the numbers in and shows these people exactly how much money they're going to save, and the good old ROI, the return of investment.
That's the bottom line. It's that's what everybody wants to know.
Yes.
Before we get into a little bit about the story and how y'all came about, I know that I remember reading that between Georgia and Florida, there was water wars. Do you feel that you put a striped shirt on every once in a while as a referee in these, or is that just something that's happened and you're coming in to provide solution? Of course, that's a little bit of a joke, but hey, we have to throw something out there.
We'll run with it. We'll run with it.
No, okay.
Not on that part of it. I don't feel that we're really the referee. I think once again, Mitchell and I are probably more like educators. We're here to educate and to come up with solutions to help the multifamily communities on how to save water. And of course, yes, they have to have an investment in there, which will be Mitchell's putting in the low flow toilets, shower heads, aerators, kitchen faucet aerators. All of these installations go in for the greater of the good, which is to save water. That's the main thing, but also to save money. So if they can take and reduce a water bill for a community, they could wind up having a water bill, depending on how large the community is, $20,000 to $30,000 a month easily. And if we can take and cut that maybe to $15,000, $12,000, depending on the age of the appliances that are already in, it's huge savings. I mean, sometimes they can get a return of investment depending on the age of the property as well. They could have a ROI in a year's time. I think the usual is what, two years?
Typically about maybe 17 to 18 months is a typical return of your investment. And really, if your property has got toilets that have a 3.5 gallon per flush, you can see an ROI between 1 year. But any properties that's typically between 1980s and earlier. So any properties that are in the 1990s are going to be using a 1.6 gallons per flush toilet. So that's where you can start seeing savings between 1 to 2 years. But yeah, I mean, any toilet in the United States, any property, multifamily properties, we can service you and we can make and help you have savings on your properties.
Because our toilets are 0.8.
Yeah.
And
know,
so
and
immediately cuts the water down.
And it's, I was telling your mom before we went on the air, there's a book, The Roaring Twenties, the new Roaring Twenties. And he used the illustration of LCD lights that when they came into the picture, it basically saved such an enormous amount of money. So we all of a sudden say, oh, there's a water shortage. But all of a sudden technology comes in and lowers the usage, like you guys are just talking about, that we consume water much less. So our water supply becomes, let's just say, doubles, because technology is advancing the way that we use water. So what would you say for our viewers that are just out there going, man, great idea? What have you found to be like the biggest obstacle of educating the property managers or the people that need to know the savings? What are you encountering?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So when it comes to informing property owners or management companies, when they think of a toilet, oh, it's just a toilet. And that's where we, finally ask for their time to show them the savings with a calculator based off their current usages, and then compare them to what the new low flow fixtures can do for their properties. But along with that is just helping them make an informed decision about, hey, can your team take on this task, or do you need a company like ours to come in and take care of that installation? Because a lot of problems is that you have an in-house team that's not prepared to take on such a huge intake of installation for that property.
Mm-hmm.
So along with that, our team has perfected their installs when it comes to getting the correct materials, the right amount of team, and then are informing their residents about the install. So a lot of times when you have an in-house team of 2 or 3 guys, but you have 500 toilets that need to get taken care of, they'll come in and they'll inform a resident of, hey, we'll be here on, let's say March 3rd. Next thing you know, you have another tenant that's moving out and they have an oven that doesn't work. So they have to go repair the oven and do some other corrections in that unit, right? Mm-hmm. So now that resident that you informed that you will be out there on the 3rd, you no longer can make it. So now you're interrupting the resident's time. Along with that as well, when you're purchasing in bulk is what we can do. We're taking care of your cost and cutting it even more instead of buying 10 toilets at a time, doing that in 2 weeks' time. If you have 1,000 toilets, our team can typically take up to about 70 to 90 toilets a day. So that's 2 weeks worth of time, and we could take care of that for you so you can see the savings at a faster rate of just having your in-house team of 2 or 3 guys to take care of that for you.
That's, I'm always drawn to simple solutions. And so if I have to jump through hoops to make it happen, like you said, with an existing maintenance team that's overloaded in their daily activities, and then you're throwing something on top of them, you can imagine that nobody wants more work. We want to be more efficient. But I like the idea of bringing in the experts to do something to give the client or the customer the savings, because everybody, yes. I mean, today I heard somebody the other day saying we're going into a very chaotic time next year. And so there's a premium. He went through the 3 stages of change. There's a premium on efficiency, because if your property is out there and they're not as efficient as property B, your rates are going to reflect it, because everybody's got to make a reasonable profit or you're not in yes. business. So if you can lower your cost of doing business enough that you can reflect it in a better, let's say, rate within your residence, you're going to be more attractive to more people. But if you hesitate and you say, well, I'll do that next year or the year after that, that's lost time of savings and lost time of really reflecting value to the end it's not just the property, it's how the property transfers that savings onto their residents. So what would you say, like, and I'm always curious of where an idea like this comes from. It's brilliant. What were you in your basement, Mitchell, and all of a sudden you were flushing the toilet, you said, hey, I think I can save some water here. How did it come about?
Yeah, so I was actually on LinkedIn, and I was to be looking at the real estate community, and value add is a huge proponent in making a profit on your community.
Mm-hmm.
So I started noticing and doing some research on minor fixes, and toilets came about to where we come in and change out the toilets, offer that service, and then provide the materials. It was just as easy as that. Along with coming into the research of looking at toilets, there's rebates on almost every toilet that you purchase, in the market. So based off of your area, your municipality might offer rebates for you to also even get a cheaper toilet. So it's a win-win situation for you to see the savings, get a cheaper toilet, and to have an efficient way of getting it installed for your community. So you're not doing the hassle of back and forth, interrupting your tenants, maybe not even knowing about a rebate,
right,
and then having the savings starting day one.
That's right.
What's it like working with your mom? I mean, I want the positive and I want the negative.
Okay, so you want to hear the truth or the lie, like you were talking about?
No, I want the truth. I mean, we're now, and I want to warn you that podcast assets never go away. So be careful when you answer this.
Yeah, so my mother and I, we've had a great relationship. Ever since I graduated high school, we've really just come together and become one. Yeah, we have our ups and downs, but mostly it's ups. At the end of the day, we're best friends. She definitely gives me the advice that I need to. It gives me a second look on how I should approach things.
Mm-hmm.
Just with her experience, I know she's not too much older than me, but she still has a lot better life experiences than I did.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's just such a win-win situation of me having my insights and how I want to go about things, and then the newer market about how everything's changing, and then her experience on how she really is a people person.
Yep.
So I know that she's a valuable asset in taking care of customers some ways that I can't. So she can definitely, maybe turn things around, inform a customer better than what I can.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I might say one thing one way, it might not get to somebody. So I definitely see her as a value asset for Systematic Water Solutions.
Thank you.
Totally. And I'll back that up because when I met your mom at an event, a friend of mine, I had to leave real quick. And I'll ask people, to be on the podcast, and I'll hear various things like, it's not my thing, or they'll come up with all these kind of things. And there's one word that I found to be the reason. It's called fear.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to your mom on the phone, and it's like, I've known her for 10 years because she's very connecting. But here's what she said. As we're talking, we're bringing, I don't know where the conversation was going, but we started talking about different things, and you came up in the conversation, and it was like, what do you think? And it was like, yes. Oh, yes. When you have something like that, education is critical, and podcasting is the best way to educate your market. So all of a sudden we're doing a podcast, and then here we're sitting together doing this podcast. So I think your mom is a great asset for that, because opening up doors is everything. Relationships are everything in business. And people, I had a person on, Bartina probably knows, it's like people think that everybody does business like you do. Like you think like, well, isn't everybody like friendly? Isn't everybody connecting? Isn't everybody build relationships? No, they don't. And so that's hard for people to sometimes think that the unique skills that a person has are not commonplace. And so when you have both of you together, because we love we had a father-son on a week ago, I think it was. When you have the young, which is technology savvy, and coming together with older, the kind of growing up in a different generation, which we didn't grow up with the technology of today.
Yeah.
So we're playing like, hey, can you show us how to do this? You know, we're always going to our kids and saying, hey, how do I make a call on this, you know, stuff? And you're going, really, Mom? I mean, but we are catching up to the technology. So I think it's super cool that two people come together to take both skill sets to the market to see it transfer. So, I mean, translate. So here I have a couple more questions. I mean, I'm just fascinated by this subject. Is, you know, Bill Gates goes to these countries and the big thing is water. Like, how do I get water? How do I get water? And so the whole idea that there's so much savings in a new technology just floors me, that we come up with things that absolutely change the consumption of a commodity like water. So let's just say that the perfect scenario, you guys crush the market. Where do you want to take this? Where are you? I'm going to ask you first, Mitchell. What are your dreams about? Where like what you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking, where do you want to take this?
That's a great question. And yeah, I'm glad you asked. So one of my biggest plans is to move over to, like what you were saying, is the LED lighting. So reducing your consumption with LED lighting. I want to have a full in-house service of the toilets, the toilet installation, LED installations to enhance your property's look from the outside at night, to make your clients feel, or your tenants feel, safer at night, along with, you know, the attraction of, man, this is a beautiful property at night. It's very well lit up. But I also want to be able to take into the market, you know, sub-metering. So any way that we can take a graph of your water conservation and, you know, see what you're putting out, to, you know, to save what you're putting out, and then also to see what you're putting in, so we can have even more control about what you're seeing in your property. So if we're starting to see any kind of leaks, we can take control of that, send you a report, and then let you know that, hey, you may have a leak somewhere. And then from there as well, with the toilets, that's already a win-win situation, because you're seeing the savings from day one. But the LED fixtures are my next move in the market. And, you know, once I get a team, you know, set up for that, then we'll be diving deep into that.
Boy, that's really good. I'm going to ask your mom in just a second, but I'm curious, like, where did you get that entrepreneurial spirit? Was that like, at what age did you feel like, were you getting it all along? Were you reading books? Were you talking to your mom? Like, who's influenced you along the way?
Yeah. So whenever I was in college, I was a sophomore in college, and I moved down to West Georgia. I was kind of lost in a sense of going into school and, you know, maybe pursuing something into, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I met a gentleman, and he was in pest control sales. So he was like, hey, would you like a job? And I was like, I was building docks and decks at the time. And I was like, you know what, anything other than this. So I tried out sales, and I really enjoyed helping the community and serving others. So I really found a passion in talking and using my voice and educating others in how we can take care of problems. And it gave me a sense of fulfillment with, you know, feeling helpful to others and helping them make an informed decision. So after about 3 years of pest control sales, I finally kind of dove deep into the value added services into, you know, the multifamily market. And ChatGPT, you know, I finally kind of had somebody that, you know, ask questions, be nice to ChatGPT, always say please and thank you. So, you know, at the end of the day, it was a huge help for myself, and, you know, just kind of wanting to take on that responsibility of, hey, if I can sell for them and I know how to talk to customers, find out their pain points, and then help them with those issues, that's what's going to make me feel a lot more, fulfilled in my life. So, I talked to her. She has over about 20 years of, experience into, with others in the sales industry. And I knew that she would be a valuable asset to help me, move forward with this decision on systematic water solutions.
Yeah, that's so cool. Hey, look, I love it. And I want to ask you another question, Mitchell, but I have to throw it to your mom here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So I want you to you're speaking to the moms out there now, Stefanie. What did you do? Like what kind of give us just one thing that you felt you did in his development years? So let's just say teens and that kind of thing. Were you doing anything to kind of like speak into him when he's dreaming, like, Mitchell, you're going to grow up? What were you doing to obviously give him the mindset that he has today, which is really outstanding?
oh.
What were you this is kind of an objective. It's a little weird question, but just kind of what were you doing that, because the moms are out there going, man, you want your kids to be successful. You want your kids to make a difference. So tell our viewers what you think in your eyes you might have been doing to help this.
First of all, I think that you try to lead by example. And the second thing, you can't ever tell your child, once you tell them something is coming from you and they immediately don't listen, they may shut the doors off, and then you could turn around and say the exact same thing. They go, really, Pete, did you mean that? And I'm like, well, I just said it. So it's really like planting seeds. So you have to plant seeds along the way.
Right.
And just like any other type of garden, when you're taking and planting those seeds, you have to tend to the garden. So you have to prune it, you have to water it, and you have to clear it and so forth. And I think over a period of time of planting these seeds and, and telling, I have 4 sons, Mitchell's the youngest, and to tell them that they're capable of doing whatever they want to do. And you just have to have a goal. And you have to set the goal and you reach for it. And that don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because you can. Now, is it going to be easy? No. It's going to not happen overnight? No. So it's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be a lot of dedication. At one point in my life, we had a family-owned business. I'm raising 4 sons. I'm working in the school system back in the day, running the household. And then I decided to go to school at the same time. So they have seen me burning the candle at both ends and into the middle, because you're not going to get anything if you don't put anything into it. Right. And so they have definitely seen the effort on my behalf. They have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And I just think that those are just the different things. So you have to lead by example. You have to plant the seeds. You have to give the encouragement, and you help them along the way. But I have learned just as much from Mitchell. Yes, we just had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. I said that I have the life experiences that you don't have. So I could walk into somebody's office and I could immediately see something to connect with that individual. Yeah. And I said, as to, but that's my age. And I said, yours will come with time. But he's the AI guy with all of that stuff and coming up with these calculators. And this is how we can save water. And I'm like, that's pretty phenomenal. And that's exactly what's needed. So that way we can show these places of business how much money we can save them, as well as how much water. So it goes hand in hand. It's a win-win situation. It's just a matter of getting past the gatekeeper.
Yeah, and that's always a challenge. I as I'm listening, I'm what's jumping out at my brain is a work ethic. You obviously showed a work ethic to Mitchell that I think is so important, because what is we learn from what we see an example. So there was a gentleman, there's a person on that when it's not aligned, we think that, like, we tell our kids to drive the speed limit, but we're driving 10, 20 miles over. It's like that little incongruent thing, it does transfer. And it's like, well, if mom's going 80 miles, I mean, she's telling me to go 50. Oh, well, you know, so we're always as parents want to show that example. But and when you do, I think you see how they, like you said, plant seeds, how they respond. I want to go back to Mitchell, and I'll say, I'll pat yourself on the back for that, Stefanie, because that is definitely a good trait. So tell me, Mitchell, like, are there books, are there things that you draw your personal development things from to get better each day? Is there something you could share with our viewers that's helped you?
Yeah. So one thing that I do every single day is that when I have my downtime to, kind of take my break, I watch motivational videos, sales videos, and to continuously go on, online and dive deeper into the world of, water conservation, LED, just trying to I want to be the expert. Right now I'm the expert in water conservation, but I want to get into the LED, conservation as well too. So when it comes to trying to really build that persona of who you want to become, it's literally just diving deep into the world of whatever you want to be. So I'm trying to be the best consultant, but consulting is sales in a sense.
Yep.
So when it comes to taking care of my clients, it's confidence, it's having the right scripts, and then saying the right things at the right time. So I'm continuously watching educational videos on sales, training, leadership, and then also diving deeper into the world of water conservation to make sure that I'm staying at the forefront of technology for my clients, and to making sure that if there's anything new in the market that we can take care of them with, we can bring it up to their attention because I'm the expert. So
awesome.
I always want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and there's nothing that gets unturned.
That's a good philosophy. Hey, I could talk about this subject for longer because I love, and so I would like y'all to come back.
Yeah.
Give us an update, because the entrepreneurial journey is a wonderful one. Not everybody's an Apple, Facebook, or Google. We start out as small businesses. We have good ideas and we impact the market by showing the value that we're bringing. So we would love to have you back on the entrepreneurial journey from a mom and a son's perspective. Would that be something that we could twist your arm to do?
You can count us in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you before we wind down.
Yeah, so you can reach me on my mobile at 678-849-1692. Or go to our website at systematicwater.com. And you can always find me on LinkedIn. Just type in Mitchell Patton, Systematic Water Solutions, and you'll see tons of posts, pull up for us to, give you a little bit more education about what we do.
Awesome. All right. So we'll let the contact information, because we can always put in the show notes, and Stefanie will put your stuff in there too.
No problem.
What would you want as we wrap up? What would be the one thing you want our viewers to take home from this podcast? And I'll go Mitchell, then I'll go to Stefanie, your mom.
Yeah. So whether it's your multifamily property or any of your residential properties that you may own, it's as simple as just changing out your toilet, your shower head, and your aerator to see savings and put back into your pocket. And at the end of the day, I would love for you to reach out to myself or Stefanie and to help us educate you and inform you help make you make an informed decision when it comes to taking care of your properties with water conservation.
Awesome. And Stefanie, I want you to speak to the moms out there. What would you want the one thing for our moms to take away from this podcast that you could share with them?
You would take and just share with your children all of the possibilities, listen to what they desire to do, and then you show them the different avenues that they could go to achieve that dream. that they are looking for. Always be supportive, always stand behind them, always be a shoulder to lean on, an ear to listen. And, you know, in the worst case scenario, you jump in the trenches with them and partner up with them like I did with him.
Awesome. I think you got a good partner there.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here and traveling over to our Kennesaw studio and being with us today.
Our pleasure.
Y'all have a good one.